Good evening, everyone, or good morning, depending on when you're checking this video. But things are starting to get interesting. Finally, after this miserable weather pattern, or beautiful weather pattern if you like warm air, there are hints. There are just hints that if you're dreaming of a white Christmas, it still might be a dream, but one day you might wake up and say, hey, we're only a couple days away and that dream might become a reality. Not saying that for sure. I'm just saying I'm starting to like some of the developments. Now, I will say that I really don't think there's a full pattern change until January, and I really think February is the core of our winter, which it usually is, but especially this year. But things are going to wake up a little bit. Just want to show you the jet stream configuration real quick here. So as you go into this weekend, it's going to be very warm. Go out, play golf, have a good time. But as that happens, there's a lot of storminess that's going to be coming in off the Pacific Ocean. And by the time we get to, say, the middle of next week, okay, look at all this red up here. This is blocking, okay? It's a negative North Atlantic oscillation. What happens is when you get high pressure up here, it stops a jet stream from just going into a west-east flow. So it starts to kink it a little bit. And if you get the appropriate response upstream in the Pacific, things can get very interesting. So we're going to have a storm system early next week that affects the central part of the country. It's going to, if anything, maybe give us a little bit of rain. Not going to be snow. Okay, that comes through. Okay, and then as we get into the longer period, so as we get towards, say, past the 16th of the month, okay, and this is just a GFS model, but I'm going to show you the ensembles in a minute. Notice all this red over the top. This is negative EPO forming. Okay, EPO is the Eastern Pacific Oscillation. When it's negative, you have high pressure here in the Gulf of Alaska. That drills down Arctic air. Keep that in mind. You also have that negative NA over the top. So underneath you have the opportunity for all types of mischief. Storm systems, cold air gets trapped underneath all this. Now if I go to the ensemble here, okay, it's not going to look the same, but remember this is a blend of many runs. But notice the same thing. You have red up here, red in the Gulf of Alaska, blue underneath. Okay, now you're looking at the East Coast and saying, oh, well, wait a second, there's red there. Yes, but remember, we don't live at 18,000 feet in the atmosphere. Okay, so as I progress here, we go into the 19th and the 20th. Notice something's going on here. The ensemble's trying to say, well, there could be some troughing or a storm system here, so something's going to happen possibly somewhere in the eastern third. And this ridge in Alaska is still trying to stay there. So I know that I have a source region of cold air that's trying to drive into the country. Now, what could end up happening here, guys, this is what I find interesting. If I go back to just a normal GFS model, and I go to, let's go to the temperatures where it's cold enough to snow. Okay, so everything in blue is pretty much cold enough to snow. What's going on here is you have oppressive Arctic air, okay, that's going in the central part of the country, and you have resistance from warm air, okay, just to the east of that. This is called the baroclinic zone, okay. Now, what could end up happening here is you can get a storm to develop, okay, if a couple other factors align, which we'll get into if this actually looks like it could happen, that rides right up this baroclinic boundary, right up through, say, the Midwest up into New England. Now, I don't know if it's going to get to a point here where, New Jersey, New York City gets any wintry type of action, but up here in New England, the weekend of the 18th, 19th, and out here, Western Pennsylvania, Midwest, you got to keep your eye on this, and we're going to see what happens because this is going to press. Now, if I go to the actual model projection, and again, I always go to the surface last, just because you have to look at what's going on above before you look below, okay? So if you see here, here's our cold air right here. Here's our warm air. If we get, okay, the actual disturbances aligned in each flow, so you have your southern flow here, your northern flow up here, if we get them to align properly where things slow down just enough, you could have a storm system develop somewhere between, say, the 16th to Christmas Eve even. So we're going to watch this, and you can see the GFS has this little wave of low pressure, okay, and then right behind it has another storm forming and then another storm. So again, the fact of the matter is cold air pressing on warm air could mean it could snow somewhere in the eastern third. I'm hesitant to say the big cities, but inland, Vermont, Midwest, I like it right now. I think we got a chance here, and long term, this pattern is starting to look a little riper, I'm telling you, and if you watch my winter forecast, you know that I'm expecting things to evolve from a cold December, or from a warm December, into a colder January and even a colder February. So this is fun to watch, guys. Thanks for checking in.